Hello, I would like to share with you today what I believe are the models and theories that support literacy and biliteracy in our Latino students. Well, first of all, like our other classmates have already said, it is definitely a combination of both synthetic and analytical theories. We can't just have all phonics, or we can't just have all the whole language word reading. We have to have a combination. Now, for example, for me, I teach first grade. So for me, what I'm going to be teaching in my class is going to be different from what another co-teacher is teaching a couple of rooms down, because she has a different group of students. They are also bilingual. They're also in the dual language program, but they have different strengths than my students. So we are both going to be using the phonics, of course, and then we're also going to be using the analytical. All these readings that we've had read here in this class and other classes, research shows over and over that children need to be immersed in reading, need to be immersed in books. So what I have seen through my experience in my classroom and other classrooms, especially in the early years, is that some students come with us with very strong phonemic awareness because they come from a home with a rich literate environment, whereas other students do not have that. So as teachers, we have to assess our students at the beginning of the year and see where they are. So some of the students are going to need more of the phonics, whereas other students will also need phonics, but it's going to be, I'll say a shorter lesson, and then they can move on to reading more where we want them to be, where we want it to be in an analytical, where they can read the whole sentence and they can comprehend what they're reading. We have to see where the children are in if they don't even know their sounds and their syllables, and we are spending way too much time on that. Later on, they will be reading and they'll be chunking and then combining these words, because I see that. And after 2 minutes of reading, you'll ask them a question and they have no clue what they read. So that is one of the signs, not necessarily, but that the teachers spend too much time on just phonics and not enough time on the analytical or the comprehension, which is very important. And I saw this because before teaching first grade, that I've been teaching for the last 2 years, I was teaching the upper grades, and boy, do we see a lot of kids there that are reading but not comprehending, and it's very frustrating. So I'm glad that I'm learning all these different theories, different models, and I'm working to better myself as to how to analyze my own students so that they can have this base knowledge, and also to be able to comprehend what they are reading, so that when they go to second, third, fourth, fifth grade, they can be successful. In one of the readings that we had, let me see, bilingual Latino students who are successful English readers. Well, obviously, this language of instruction is going to be in their L1, in our case, Spanish, for most of us. So what I liked about this reading is that here in this study, they talked about the students read, for example, here they read their assignment was in English, then they were allowed to discuss it in Spanish. And in that case, they were able to really explain what they understood, instead of just kind of maybe sitting there and staring at each other, not being able to express what they've learned or how they feel or make connections. And that's one of the things or a strategy that I would really like to use in the dual language model that we use in my school, is the Gomez and Gomez, so that math is done all in English, and I work really hard to stick to that. Oftentimes first grade do the lesson in English, and then the children will explain in Spanish, and I just let them go on, and then I'll reiterate what they just said or explain it in English. If the kids already heard their peers say it in Spanish, there's nothing wrong with that. I saw that he or she understood the lesson, which is the goal, and then we can move on. And then the integration of reading and writing. The writing is so important to this. Again, it goes back and forth. If we have a good reader, he or she will be able to write. And if he or she can write, obviously he or she can read. And this year, being my second year in first grade, I am working on going back and forth with the children. And so we are making this a big deal about being an author. You're going to author your book, you're going to author your newspaper article, and then you're going to share it with a friend, because you have published your work, and now not only did you write it, but you're going to read it to a friend, or your friend is going to get to read it. And again, we'll do this in both. Right now, in their L1 language, and towards the end of the year, they'll have an option of doing it in English if they feel more comfortable. Again, the language of instruction is going to be the L1 Spanish, and then we'll see those skills transfer. I already see them. I see students who at home they don't speak English, they don't read English, because I talk to the parents and I ask them, but I give them their math work and there's a word problem, and they are able to very well read it. And they use the same strategies we use in Spanish, reading from left to right, decoding. There's a new word, they don't know it, why, and then I help them. The next time they already know it. And so every day we read that, and that's only during our math time that is in English. Other than that, everything else is all in Spanish, and we are working to make that foundation and some of the children that do not have the strong literate home life, we are doing more phonics with them, and not just phonics though, combining it with analytical and making sure that they are comprehending what they're reading. And it's going to take a little bit longer for them, but they're going to get there so that they can be also successful, and by the end of the year they will have made a greater gain than if we were just stuck with phonics. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing everyone else.